Welcome to Financial Insanity, out of the box thinking for your financial sanity, as we discuss annuities, the good, the bad, and the ugly. A great tool or a not so great tool. Sit back, relax, take notes, as this could be the best show you've ever listened to. Like myself, at times, and many others, you hear what you want to hear and forget the rest. For example, you selectively hear the best and not the rest. Well, maybe that's like some of you husbands out there, like myself and as well. Your wife tells you one thing, but you hear what you want to hear, and this can lead you to a mousetrap. A trap you don't want to get involved in. So let's move forward as we talk about annuities, the financial products that can make your head spin faster than a merry-go-round after eating too much cotton candy. But don't worry, I'm here to break it down for you in plain, simple English with a dash of humor to make it more palatable. So grab your cup of coffee, let's have some fun together as we discuss annuities. To give you a backdrop, the reason I bring up annuities is because they're really sold almost like cotton candy at the carnival. The question is, which one is good for you? Or maybe none of them are good for you. And I hear so often when people say, oh, they're terrible. Well, you know what? Maybe they didn't hear the rest of the story. There's 4 types, as I mentioned. One is called variable annuities. The second one is called immediate annuity. The third is called fixed annuity. And the fourth is called indexed annuity. Now, this is why they can be so complicated, because there's 4 different types. It may fit in your bag of tricks called your investment tools. It may not. But not understanding them, you may not have them at all in your bag of tricks, and you might want one. Or perhaps you have them in your financial toolbox, but you probably need to get them out. So let's start with variable annuities. Let's see what Forrest Gump has to say.
Do you want a chocolate? I could eat about 1.5 million of these. My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
A variable annuity is made up and comprised of a couple different tools. Number one, it's comprised of the stock market. So these annuities offer the potential for higher returns in the stock market because the money is invested in a sub-account. Mutual funds, a tremendous amount of different types of mutual funds that companies get to offer. And again, the risk becomes riskier because based on the stock market, it's in the market. Think of it like a roller coaster ride. It's exciting, but it can cause your stomach to churn and burn, if you know what I mean. Now, with the variable annuity, the good thing is it can offer some great tax-deferred growth like most all annuities. And in the addition to that, you can add features and benefits. You can add on extra benefits and riders. They call it income for life riders. So if someone said, hey, I've got an annuity that's guaranteed to give me 6% a year, that is not guaranteed on the cash value side. It's guaranteed on the income for life benefit side. Let me give you an example. You purchased a variable annuity contract from, let's say, cousin Vinny. And Vinny said, you're going to put in $200,000 and we guarantee you, the company guarantees you 6% simple interest for the contractual period, the period that you have it. So after year 1, the contractual value of the contract, being a simple interest vehicle, is $212,000. The end of the second year, $224,000. The end of the third year, $236,000. Now just imagine investing that money in the year 2006. That's right, 2006. You put the money in, 3 years later, you'll have $236,000 according to the income for life benefit. But you might have not heard income for life. So the exciting thing is you put it in January 1st, 2006, and here it is, January 1st, 2009, and the stock market is down 25%. And the investment you purchased, let's say, was the S&P 500. Well, the market's down 25% after that 3 years. So now we have 2 numbers. We put in $200,000. That's the first number. The second number is the income for life, and that number is $236,000. But what's the third number? Oh, the third number is the cash value. What did the $200,000 go to? Drum roll, please. $150,000. Now you're scratching your head thinking, wait a minute, Cousin Vinny wouldn't do that to me. Come on, Cousin Vinny. What'd you do? Well, what you didn't understand is you have two different areas. One area is the growth area, the area of where the money is invested in, the stock market, and the other area is the income for life. So yes, the two numbers now are $236,000 income for life, and the other is the cash value, the money that's actually the policy grew in cash or not, and it's $150,000. And you're scratching your head and say, wow, that was really, really expensive. What happened? I thought it was guaranteed. Well, maybe you didn't hear Cousin Vinny, or maybe Cousin Vinny didn't tell you the rest of the story. Now, on top of the variable annuities, there's called fees. There are several fees. There's called the mortality and expense fee, the administration fee, the sub-account fees, and then the income rider fees. Income for life could be a fee on top of the death benefit fee. Those fees can go from 2.5% to 4.5%, and the average is right around 3.25%. Imagine putting in $200,000 and not knowing that you are paying 3.25% in fees, or just quite possibly were unaware that you were paying approximately $6,500 in fees, but it did not show up on your paperwork on a yearly basis. Now, you think Cousin Vinny's going to tell you that? Well, I would hope he does. But the problem is, a lot of times people don't hear the fees, or they're not told the fees. And I can tell you 9 times out of 10, they're not told the fees. This product is, if you read my book, The Three Blind Mice, How the Financial Planning Process Leads Your Money to a Mousetrap, I'd encourage you to call our studios and ask for the chapter in our book. We'll be able to send it to you, 609-488-4646, and ask Bonnie for chapter 8, page 155, or right around there. I talk about several types of annuities. Please get your hands on that, 609-488-4646. By the way, that's our website, and we'll be happy to get that to you. Most contracts go between 5 and 10 years. Just imagine you had it for 10 years and you're paying a average expense over those 10 years of $6,500 a year and didn't even know it. And here it is 10 years later, you laid out $65,000 of money that could have been earning in the markets or going up and down, but notwithstanding, what is the purpose of it? Now, this is not an idea to get rid of it. This benefit of income for life could be a great tool for many people. So don't just run out to the nearest candy store and sell it for your box of chocolates. Don't do that. Give our studios a call if you want to ask questions about it, because this is the number one tool of choice to sell. Why? It is loaded with fees, and agents love them to death because the commissions are swelling wonderful. And I can tell you, I don't like them. Read my book. You'll see why. Now, the next annuity in the world of annuities is called an immediate annuity. Immediate, like stop, immediately. Immediate, like a buffet. You pay up front. You give $100,000, and then you get to eat as much as you want. In other words, they're giving you a check for the rest of your life. A steady stream of income for a specific period of time. Could be for life. It could be for 5 years. 10 years. No matter what happens in the stock market, you're getting that return in your pocketbook for the rest of that period of time you chose. Almost like a pension plan. Now, the good news is that it immediately starts and it provides a nice, reliable source of income that you can't outlive. Make sure the company is a strong company, and we use Weiss ratings as well as a Comdex ratings. Now, the good news, again, is a reliable source of income. The bad news is once you've bought this plate at the buffet, you can't get a refund. So you need to make sure you're happy with what you're getting. And I can tell you, if you're not happy, you're not going to change it. Or maybe you're happy now and you're stuck at that income, and all of a sudden inflation hits and you were getting $500 a month, but now you need $700 a month. You cannot change that contract. Very, very important to understand. Plus, the fees and the expenses can be higher than a fancy buffet. So again, make sure you read the fine print. Make sure the agent that is working with you goes over all the tools, not just one or two tools. Now, the ugliness is you set it, forget it, interest rates go up, and you don't have enough money to, of course, buy what you need to buy because inflation. That's called an immediate annuity, similar to a pension plan. When people look at these tools, I love to look at their pension plans because the question is, what happens if you're getting it and you want to make sure your spouse is getting it? It's called the spousal continuance. Does your spouse get it? Does your spouse get your pension plan? This is part of the retirement planning process that can lead your money to a mousetrap. This is mousetrap number 8. Now, the next one is called the fixed annuity. Now, fixed annuity is really easy to understand. It's like a savings account on steroids. You deposit the money in, you're guaranteed the interest rate that they're paying you. The great news, you get that for that period of time, and many of them are compound interest. This is why I want to ask that question. Is my interest compound or is it simple interest? This is how the companies can get one up on you because you didn't ask that question. Or the agent sells you an exciting interest rate, but you forgot to ask, or maybe he or she didn't tell you it is compound interest. This is really, really important. Think of it like a piggy bank, and you can't break it open until a certain date. You put it in there, let's say it's a 5-year period of time, and it keeps growing for the 5 years. Some will give you the interest as it comes out on a yearly basis. So you could do that, or a monthly basis, but you cannot get the principal. So each one has a unique, different option that you need to hear all of the options. The other question is, if you were to pass away, let's say you lock it up for 5 years, you're getting a nice steady stream of income of 5%. Now all of a sudden you pass away. Where does the money go? Does it go to your beneficiaries? Do you have beneficiaries? This is critical. You must make sure of that. This is why the advisor needs to read your will and your trust agreements. Who does it go to? How can we avoid probate? A great tool if the advisor is looking at the legal aspects as well as the beneficiary aspects. And then how does the beneficiary get the money? Does the contract end upon death or can it continue? This could be a great tool for many, many people right now, as interest rates are climbing like a skyrocket. We've never seen it grow so fast. Many of you remember, as I remember, in the 80s or early 80s, the market screamed. And of course, interest rates were almost 16, 17%, and we were all happy that we're listening right now. But if you're like me, a little bit older these days, you can remember your first mortgage was probably 15%, and we didn't care because we got a house. But then as the interest rates went down, we were excited. Well, interest rates are going up right now. The question is, if they start going down, is it a good time to lock in that nice high rate of return? And by the way, there are some really good interest rates out there right now. So let's go over a quick summary of the 3 we went over. The first one's called the variable annuity. It's like a box of chocolates. It's like I'm being on a merry-go-round. You don't want to eat too much candy because the stock market goes up and down, and the cash value could go very, very low, and you're thinking it's locked in. The second one is called an immediate annuity. I'd like a monthly payment, Scott. Give me a monthly payment for the rest of my life. Okay, great. And if I pass away, I want my wife to get a monthly payment. So an immediate annuity can act and smell like a pension plan, but you better pick the right options. The third one we just got through explaining was called a fixed annuity, and a fixed annuity is what? Fixed. That's right. Smells and looks like a CD, but it's not a CD. It's an annuity, and it's, of course, like a savings account on steroids. It pays a lot more than normal CDs pay, and the taxes can be deferred. But once you pull money out of it, you'll be paying tax on the gain as ordinary income. If it's an IRA, all the money you pull out obviously will be taxable because it's an IRA. This is a great tool for many people who don't want to worry about the stock market. Once them has some steady, guaranteed interest for that period of time. And luckily and hopefully it's compound, not as simple. Again, questions to ask. Now, the next tool in the toolbox of annuities is number 4, the indexed annuity. You see, this was a hybrid annuity. It's with fixed as well as variable annuity. So it's kind of combination of both. And of course, you get the upside, but protect from the downside. These annuities offer the opportunity of higher earnings based on the performance of the stock market, like the Standard & Poor's 500, they call it S&P 500, without the risk of losing your principal. So the principal is always guaranteed. It's like a trampoline. You can bounce high, but if there's a safety net, if you go too low. In other words, you can't lose your principal or any of the gains year to year. Now, the neat thing about it is, of course, they offer great potential returns without the stock market risk, and most all of them have no fees. This is what you want to ask about fees, because the potential for growth can be eaten up by fees, and these vehicles usually don't have any fees unless you add riders to them, extra benefits to them. Let's go over the bad. They have what's called cap rates. In other words, you can make money up to a certain height. In other words, you're on the trampoline and you're not allowed to go over, let's say, 10 feet tall or 10%. So if the market goes up 5, you're going to get 5% from point to point, year to year. If you bought the contract in January 1st, next January 1st, your account gets credited. If you bought the account in August 1st, the next August 1st gets credited. So you're following the market from that period for a full year. Now let's take a look at the creditation. If the cap is 10 feet tall, or let's just say 10%, you can relate jumping on a trampoline. That's right. If the market goes up 12% on the S&P from period to period that you bought it, that means you're getting 10, not 12. Cap rates change based on the treasury and based on the company you're involved with. And this is important to pay attention to those areas. What is the cap rate? Companies could come out and offer you high cap rates, but then they can change them. And because of the stock market cycles of the interest rates going up and down, you could start with a very low yielding contract and they may not raise it as interest rates going up. We've seen that over years. Maybe you're going to start at a high cap rate, and hopefully they'll hold it at a high rate, let's say 10%. Here's when people get mad. The bad, or I should say the ugly. Well, often the cap rates limit how much interest you can earn. So let's just assume the market is driving down, like from 2000 to 2002, and you had 2 years of zero. Then you're scratching your head because you forgot what the representative said if they told you the whole story. Well, you didn't get any earnings for 2 years. You scratch your head and say, I didn't make any money. Well, if the market's gone down 30%, you didn't lose anything either. And that's the good news. The bad news, you didn't make any money. How can you leverage the account? Well, sometimes you can actually pull out up to 10%. You can take out 10%. And what can you do with it? Why not invest it into maybe a fixed annuity? Or maybe you want to put some in the stock market because the market has turned. Take out your 10%, stick it in the stock market vehicles, and maybe you like stock market income vehicles that are paying nice dividends or interest. Another way to make your money work holistically, if it's an IRA, keeping it in an IRA, no taxes. If you pull it out, again, you're going to pay ordinary income on the gain if it's a non-qualified annuity, versus if it's an IRA, you'll pay tax on that. So be careful. The tax return can tell you that. This is why the advisor must look at the tax returns before you make any changes in your annuities. Very important. 4 types of annuities: the good, the bad, the ugly, the variable annuity, the immediate annuity, the fixed annuity, and the indexed annuity. All of them have some features and benefits you might like, but I can tell you there are some hidden fees and clauses you better know about. Fair enough? I hope this was helpful for you. I can tell you, pay attention to the details. Get a copy of our book, 609-488-4646. We'll be happy to help you. Chapter 8 in the book, around page 155. You might want to read it. Give Bonnie a shout out at our office studios here, radio studios, 609-488-4646, and love to meet with you and talk to you more about where to invest your money on a holistic opinion, not just a simplistic decision. Have a beautiful week. This is Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, Financial Insanity, out of the box thinking for your financial sanity. Have a beautiful week.